Hello there, you're watching the press preview, a first look at what is on the front pages. Time then to see what's making the headlines with the columnist and broadcaster Steve Richards and the former Conservative Special Advisor Salma Shah. Welcome to both of you. So let's see the front pages then, shall we? Starting with the Financial Times, suggesting that Israel's military is preparing for a ground invasion of the Gaza Strip. The Guardian picks up on that theme with reports of Israeli troops massing on the border with Gaza. The Metro quotes reporting by an Israeli TV station which described 40 babies murdered by Hamas during an attack on a kibbutz. The Telegraph also leading on that report of baby killings. And the Times too, with graphic details of the incident. The Express report describes what it calls the pure evil of the killings. The Eye describes them as a massacre of the innocents. The Daily Mail's reporter in Israel describes it as a Holocaust, pure and simple. The Sun features a young girl kidnapped by Hamas and the call she made to her family with the headline, "Mummy, help me." The Daily Mirror looks at the promises in Keir Starmer's speech to the Labour Party conference with the headline, "A Britain Built to Last." And the Star serves up a story about the healing properties of mushrooms, which scientists say could cure the world's diseases. Well, a reminder, by scanning the QR code that you'll see on screen during the programme, you can check out the front pages of those papers while you watch us. So let's head straight to our guest then, to Steve and to Salma. We'll come on to those reports about the baby killings in a moment, but more broadly, first of all, two newspapers who go on the bigger picture, which is The Guardian to start with, Steve. Israeli troops mass on the Gaza border. Hamas attack, death toll now climbing above 1,000 Israelis. What happens now? And the questions of proportionality, which we're beginning to hear about.
They are, and it was very interesting. I was watching Sky News earlier when you ran the whole of the Biden statement, and I thought that was very interesting because he combined cleverly, I thought, and subtly, unqualified support for Israel's right to protect itself and to go after the terrorists, in inverted commas, the Hamas terrorists. But he also stressed they had to do so within international rules for conflict and war. And as you say, the issue of proportionality is arising as this nightmare deepens. And we don't know quite what form it's going to happen next, beyond clearly the intensity of the response is going to be great. Now, the US, Starmer at the Labour conference and everyone else talks about it in the context of keeping within those international rules for conflict of this sort.
Well, the Financial Times, similarly, Israel prepares for a ground invasion, looking into that. But I have to say, the newspapers are dominated by the kibbutz killings at Kfar Aza, which is where our correspondent also went today, Stuart Ramsey. The reporting by one Israeli TV channel that 40 babies were murdered by Hamas, including being beheaded, makes a number of the front pages, the Metro, the Times, the Eye. Well, I have to say that when Stuart was there, he saw bodies in body bags, Israeli bodies, one the size of a child. So one, obviously many were taken away. The Hamas fighters were left lying where they fell. We have asked on 3 occasions the IDF to confirm. They have not confirmed this reporting. But this feeds into that question of proportionality, does it not? This idea that Hamas cut the throat of babies. And the quote here from their reporter in the Times saying some said that up to 40 babies' corpses had been found among entire families who were shot dead as they slept.
Yes, indeed, and I think this is going to be one of those issues that's going to continue as this conflict goes on, which is the stories that are coming out, and a journalist's ability to verify what's actually going on the ground, I think, is going to become difficult. We are in a situation that is highly emotionally charged. The want and need for retribution is high. And I think that we are going to see a lot of this kind of emotive reporting that's coming out, and it's going to be incredibly important for journalists on the ground to be able to verify as quickly and as effectively as they can.
But we know people were smoked out of their homes. The attempt was there to burn people alive.
Exactly.
We've spoken to people who said that.
I think
the horrors are there.
The horrors exist, exactly. The point that we have to remember is that, you know, people's families have died. There are hostages. There has not been discrimination between women and children and a separation of the violence against innocents. And I think we can't lose sight of the bigger picture in terms of the fact that this has, in my view, been a deadly terrorist attack.
Yeah, the son as well. Mummy help me. Girls called to her mum as Hamas kidnapped her, and savages beheaded baby in the massacre as well. The Sun is also has that on its front page as well. Plenty more to come in the next part of our programme. It wasn't the kind of glitz Keir Starmer would have been hoping for from his conference speech, but we will talk about both the intrusion and the substance of what he had to say. Well, welcome back. You're watching the press preview with me once again, Steve Richards and Salma Shah. Steve, just hot-footing it even, back from the Labour Party conference. The glitter attack, the substance, what did you make of it all from Keir today?
Yeah, well, the glitter attack, the more I think about it, worries me. There is an issue about security and British politics, and I was up there, and I loved it. There weren't the usual queues. You could get in pretty easily, and a bag would just be quickly looked and you were through. And yeah, I think it will. Keir Starmer responded brilliantly, calmly, made an argument around it that he's no longer in a party of protest, but one serious about power. But I think it does raise issues about how you protect politicians in this highly charged country. In terms of the substance, I thought it was a very well-argued speech. It was an argument, really, rather than a series of policy announcements. And I think that was the right call. It was an argument about an active state and the good that government can do without loads of announcements. It could be a year till the election, and the manifesto will have policies. But I think it was time for him to frame an argument, and I think he did it well.
And for someone like you who's worked in government, you'll be looking for the clear blue water between parties and all of that. You know, your assessment.
Oh, well, first of all, I agree with Steve completely on the security issue in terms of the glitter. What I will say is that was the most exciting thing about the speech, in my view. You're quite right, tactically. He is ahead in the polls. He doesn't want to do anything to damage that, so he's playing it completely safe and very cautiously. And so he won't put any detail on it for a while. I think, you know, there is no clear blue water just quite yet, enough to distinguish him to the electorate, I think.
Well, it makes a number of the front pages. The glitter attack mainly has to be said, including the Daily Telegraph, Starmer's time to shine. I mean, you know, it's a sub-editor's dream in many respects, isn't it? in these pages.
It's one of these weird things. His team will have spent sleepless nights wondering how to project him effectively. And then something, as I say, very dark happens.
Theresa May
unexpected.
Walking on Dancing, for example, which was unexpected in itself, wasn't it?
Which is unexpected in itself. And actually, I think voters will notice this. They will be impressed by his kind of cool courage in just getting on with it. So they didn't plan for this. They shouldn't have planned for this. It shouldn't have happened. And I worry about the fact that it happened. But the response will introduce him to many voters, almost for the first time. And they hadn't planned for this, but it happened, and it will help him.
OK, both of you, Steve and Salma, lovely to see you for now. Thank you both very much indeed.